Welcome into the Keepers Fantasy Football Show. I'm the host, Paige DeMacos, here with Chris Schubert. We were a little distracted coming in because Chris was playing some...
I was jamming.
He was jamming.
I was jamming.
He was really jamming coming into
Taylor
this.
Swift on.
He sure did.
I had some Paramore on.
Chris can sing a mean Taylor Swift song. Let me just tell you that. That is coming on Thursday. That's a little teaser for you people.
There may be some Taylor Swift.
We are power ranking our top 5 Taylor Swift songs.
Don't at me, Twitter.
Yeah, no, I want all the ats.
Do not at me.
I'm not even going to pretend like I don't want them. I want all of them because it's going to be so entertaining when Chris just gets demolished.
Yeah, Twitter's not going to be my friend later this week.
His top 5 is so bad.
Yep.
But I think we're going to start with Monday Night Football. Start off.
Now, hold on a second, Paige.
Okay.
Last week on this show, you set up here. We had a Periscope going over there.
We sure did.
Our good friend, Joe Marino, threw down the gauntlet on Thursday Night Football. Said, Chris, let's make a bet. You're a Jets fan, I'm a Bills fan, let's make a bet, okay? So he's like, if the Bills win, you have to sing the Bills song.
Yep.
Well, if the Jets win, I had to make him sing the Jets song.
Yes.
Who won that game last Thursday night?
That would have been the Jets.
So what do we have here for everybody on this show right now?
Oh, we have a lovely video.
We have that video.
Yes.
Of Joe Marino. So if we could go to Joe, he will take it away.
Chris, Paige, not sure why amid a 17-year playoff drought I would put a wager on the Buffalo Bills doing anything good, but I'm an idiot, and it's time to make good on that. I don't have any green paraphernalia of the Jets or any green clothes, but I have a green wall, so I'm going to do this in front of that green wall. Here you go. Jets, 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 Jets.
All right, so the people that saw what happened last week know that in reality, I made the bet for Chris. Chris was very hesitant.
A win is a win.
He was crying and whining about how he didn't want to make this bet.
Did I win the bet?
And sure enough...
Then that's all that matters. I won the bet.
Hang on a second. The very second he can sniff out a victory, he's all over social media.
That's right.
Look at what I did.
Well, yeah.
There's about 25% credit for Chris. 25.
I think
and I'm being
25 is, I think, a little low. 35 is a little better.
Generous.
All right.
He was whining like a little stinking baby. It was atrocious, to be honest with you. You have no faith in your team.
Now, I very much enjoy the fact that he was not able to find any Jets colors to wear, so that he stood in front of a green wall.
He gave us the green background. He promoted himself very nicely with the NDT scouting, which is part of the
I hope he's watching.
Awesome.
I hope he got to watch himself do that again, because I'm sure it bothered him in real time having to do it. And it lives on Twitter forever.
Once this is up on YouTube, I will tweet this link out, and I will just add him. With no understanding
because it's on his Twitter account. You can see it now.
Yeah, he's not going to have any idea of what it is. I'm just going to send the YouTube link out with an @ the Joe Marino.
That's good.
And
we'll
hopefully he figures it out.
Perfect.
But why don't you give everybody a little Jets?
No, Joe handled it for me.
You won't even sing for
No, but Joe handled it for me this week.
Here's the thing.
I'll just pull that up anytime I want. I can just cue it up, and he'll just do it for me.
Well, I have made a wager that I need to tell everybody else about.
What did you make? With me?
The old Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers are meeting up.
It's not with me.
The oldest rivalry in the NFL, and I feel very good.
Oh, no.
The Chicago Bears are a 5-point favorite, the highest favorite they have been since 2005. Since 2005. It's going to be unbelievable. I cannot wait. Peter Bukowski, I'm looking at you, my friend from Locked On Packers.
You're calling somebody out on the show? That's not what we use this for.
Out Bukowski. What's up, Bukowski? How you feeling?
Do you want to get up in the camera? Do you want to get up in his face?
I have a feeling that his confidence level is very low since Brett Hundley is starting at quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
What's the wager?
So here's the wager. Live on the show. He told me I could make up what do we want to do.
Well, that was his first mistake.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake. So, if the Bears win, when they win, he's got to send me a video or do an entire Periscope with a Bears jersey on. Now, if I lose, I'm going to have to do this show next Tuesday in some type of ugly Green Bay paraphernalia because green and yellow, dear God, could you have come up with a worse color combination? Green Bay. Seriously, it's disgusting.
Let's see.
I told him no cheeseheads because I ain't wearing that. But I will wear something green and yellow.
I'm trying to.
What are you trying to do?
Well, I'll show you. I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to use my skills here very well.
Oh, you're going to use the HDMI?
Here you go. Yeah, here you go.
Wow.
You ready for this?
What do you got here?
Boom, there you go. How about we get you something from here?
Oh, no.
We'll get you. Oh, how about this camo, Paige?
Oh, no. That's
ugly.
We'll
get you rocking that camo.
That's very ugly.
Oh, this This is what I need right here. I need you wearing that yellow. That's nice.
I would rather die.
That is good stuff.
That looks atrocious. I really don't want any of this stuff.
I want to expedite ship this little ugly sweater right here.
Let me just be very clear. I will not be spending any dollar bills, y'all, on anything that is green and yellow. So if Peter Burkowski wants me to participate.
That's lovely. That is good stuff.
That is atrocious.
Yep, that is good stuff.
That is the ugliest Christmas sweater that exists on the planet.
That would achieve the goal, Paige. That would achieve the goal.
You guys are here for it. You understand. These are high stakes. Because I can tell you right now, I have never worn anything that has Green Bay associated with it. I would, seriously, it would make me sick.
Not until next week.
But I'm feeling pretty good. I think
wait.
Coming off a bye week, old Mitchie Trubisky, he's going to be looking real good.
Mitchie Trubisky, he's like, what's the kid, 22 years old?
But let's talk about that Monday Night Football last night. This is what spurred that, because the Green Bay Packers were in that game. Green Bay.
Were they?
Detroit Lions.
In that game? Did they actually play?
They actually might file a missing persons report for the entire Green Bay offense, because that's pretty much what they were doing for fantasy teams. Let's start off with Jordy Nelson here, because his value now that Aaron Rodgers, we all know, it's not, okay, some people argue, obviously, Tom Brady is the greatest in the league. I would say Aaron Rodgers is the best player in the NFL right now. I don't think it's even a question. And now that you've seen that he is off that team, the value of all the offensive pieces around him, and considering how high most of them were drafted, you have to feel really bad at this point, because Jordy Nelson is not going to be a viable option going forward.
Right. If you were a Jordy Nelson owner, it's one of those tough spots where he was a guy that you probably drafted in the first round, maybe the late second round or early second round, and he's a guy that you're going to play in that wide receiver 1 spot. That was where you expected him to be. I'm at a point now with Jordy Nelson where I don't know if I can consider him a wide receiver 1. I think he's a wide receiver 2 now. I think he moves down the board. I think if you own him, you have to go out and replace that wide receiver 1 production, go get it someplace else, make a trade, because I don't think you're going to get it from Jordy Nelson with Brett Hundley. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Let's talk about Marvin Jones Jr.
He had a really good game.
On the flip side, somebody who had a really, really good night. Kind of emerging as maybe Stafford's favorite target there, because he does have quite a few pieces. Kenny Golladay has been not playing with some injury issues. Seems like he has continuous hamstring issues that just keep lingering for this guy. Golden Tate is obviously usually their #1 overall guy, but he usually gets the best cornerback. So I think that has been helping Marvin Jones Jr. So if you're a Marvin Jones Jr. owner, you feel pretty good, because last night was a great performance, and I think he's trending up for the rest of the season and into the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I thought the Lions played really well last night. Besides an Amir Abdullah fumble, he had a pretty good game too. So he's a guy that if you had him, you liked what he was able to provide. And Matt Stafford consistently being a good fantasy quarterback option in a year where a lot of quarterbacks are hurt and a lot of quarterbacks are underperforming. Matt Stafford is kind of like the old reliable in this case, and he has consistently put up good points. Yeah, that's good, right?
I really like that reference, Chris.
That's good. He's been that all year. Just kind of there, consistent, puts up points.
He always does put up points, and as I'm looking at the top overall scores from the week, he had a pretty decent week, but when I'm looking at all-time scoring leaders. Okay?
For the season?
Right now on my screen, I have all the scoring leaders.
Okay.
Let's look. Look at how that magically showed up.
That's good.
Look at all these quarterback.
There's Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford. Not too far. So this is, I think the most surprising of the ones here is that Alex Smith
is the number 2 fantasy quarterback.
Number 2 overall quarterback, and only by 4 points right here. So I think this is still the overall, especially with Kareem Hunt and Alex Smith, because they haven't had that good of weeks over the last couple of weeks, and I think that just shows you how good they were early on in the season, now that you have some of these numbers that you're kind of surprised by going forward. Anything else you want to hit from Monday Night Football? Anybody else you really liked? I know I do want to mention Brian Beluga is out for the rest of the season, offensive lineman. Obviously, you don't have him on a fantasy team, but this impacts everything around it, specifically the run game.
And specifically your bet for the game next week.
Oh, I am feeling great about this bet.
I just wanted to make sure, check in with you.
Really good about this bet. And Burkowski, can't wait to see you in blue and orange.
Okay.
It's going to look so good.
I want to go over some of the good performances from this week.
Okay.
Is that something that you are interested in?
I am interested in that.
Okay, so where do you want to start? Because I would start with the quarterbacks, but earlier on in the day, you wanted to start off with the running backs.
No, let's start off with the quarterbacks, and let's start off with Jared Goff from this week.
He had a very, very good game. I mean, I look at this total performance, and it's 311 yards, it's 4 touchdowns. The big number there, no picks. Didn't throw an interception, and he was efficient. It was 14 of 22. They did not ask him to throw the ball a whole lot, as they ran all over the New York Giants, passing the ball, running the football. The Giants couldn't do anything to stop them. They put up 51 total points in that game, and Jared Goff finished you with 28.4 fantasy points. He was, quarterback won this week, he was the top quarterback. The top quarterback this week was Jared Goff. That is impressive, and it was a very, very good performance by him, and he has legitimately become a #1 fantasy quarterback option, where at the end of last season, you didn't think he was going to be drafted, and now here he is, one of the top options on the season. I think for the season, he's quarterback 12 or 13.
I was going to say, I'm pulling it up right now to see overall scoring leaders, to see where he sits on this list. But Jared Goff had a great week, and he's had his bye week already, so you always take that into account. And he's trending upwards. He's right below Matthew Stafford as far as points go, and the guys in front of him are all phenomenal. So he is in a 12-team league, he is a must-start at this point. After now coming off that bye week, that performance he had in New York, I know you and I talked about this before. The New York Giants were no schlubs coming into this game. 7th best against fantasy quarterbacks. So for him to put up this type of performance there on the road, where we talked about how poor West Coast teams have done going east, this is a very impressive performance, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely impressive. And he continues to, I mean, look, the Rams as a team have scored more points in their games.
Yeah, this is a great stat.
In the 8 games this season than in all 16 games last season. They are halfway through the season. They've put up more points on offense than they had a season ago. And a lot of that has to do with Sean McVay, and credit goes to him. He's reinvented Jared Goff. He's got Todd Gurley back. That offensive line is being able to protect both of those guys. It's been really important. And their turnaround is, you're seeing it in the fantasy numbers. You're seeing it with Jared Goff being the #1 quarterback this week, a top 12 quarterback overall. You're seeing it with Todd Gurley, running back 2 this season. He's been incredible. And it's been very good. If you were one of those guys or one of those people that took a risk on those guys, you are reaping the rewards.
Let's talk about the #1 overall scoring player in general and #1 overall scoring quarterback in the league, and that is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles are rolling.
Look at that stat line. He did not throw for more than 200 yards, but he had 4 touchdowns and 24.8 total points. He is quarterback #1 for the entire season.
Yes.
So if you look at the entire season, he is the best fantasy player this year, and those 4 touchdowns certainly help. He's the only quarterback that has more than 20 touchdowns at this point in the season. He only has the 5 picks. He's just been incredible. And credit to what they're doing there in Philadelphia. They've reinvented him, and they're the best team in football.
No, they are the best team in football, and it's not close. Carson Wentz is the best player thus far this season. He is a clear favorite for the MVP. I don't think anybody is contesting that at this point. But I want to mention, before we get into the other 2 performances, I want to keep it on quarterbacks and talk about, I'm looking in front of me, and I'm looking at a name that stands out. Because the top 12 quarterbacks in the league, I'll name you right in a row here. Okay? Carson Wentz.
Yeah, he's good.
Alex Smith.
Okay.
Kind of a surprise.
Yeah, he's a surprise to be the #2 quarterback.
Russell Wilson.
That's not a surprise.
Deshaun Watson.
That's not kind of a surprise, but once he started playing,
Dak Prescott.
Not a surprise.
Tom Brady.
Not a surprise.
Cam Newton.
Nope.
Kirk Cousins.
Nope.
Drew Brees.
Nope.
Now this is the surprise.
This is where the surprise comes in?
Josh McCown.
Wow.
Josh McCown. That's the Jets fan giving you the thumbs up. He is the number 11
Josh, you want to play for a couple more years, buddy?
He is the number 11 overall quarterback in fantasy scoring right now.
That's right.
And it's unbelievable, because if somebody told you...
The Jets are such a good, well-run organization that they went out and they found this guy, Josh McCown, and they're like, hey, we believe in him, and he did really well. Look at that.
That is what you call sarcasm.
That's a spin
because
job.
The Jets are, teaser, I am doing a 5 worst franchises in sports tomorrow.
Don't do this. Don't put them on there.
The Jets were a candidate.
They
were getting there.
They were close.
They were really close, but the Browns have that one, and it's not close for anybody else. But I just wanted to mention that before.
He's not turning the ball over, and I think that's the big thing. He's not going to. I don't think he's ever going to have that 400-yard gain. I know he had that really good game against New England a couple weeks back, but he's never going to have that big performance. But he's just consistent. Doesn't turn the ball over.
13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
That game on Thursday night, he had a rushing touchdown. Josh McCown had a rushing touchdown in a game. I mean, it's just been incredible.
Not only did he have a rushing touchdown, he had a spike. It was very much the most pathetic spike I've ever seen, but it was awesome.
But he went for it, though.
It was
he
very
committed
much
to the idea, and
it was very much Carson Palmer-esque, if you remember that game a few years ago when he scored and fell over while he was spiking. It reminded me quite a bit of that. But let's get into the next performance of the week, and that is Alvin Kamara. This guy, can we say enough about him and what he means to this offense for the Saints?
We could. I'm going to pull something up here on the big screen. So when we come back, out of the graphic,
152 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns, 31.2 points. The big thing here is those all-purpose yards, because he's being utilized not only so much in the backfield, but also just his utilization in the passing game, which makes him so valuable, especially in a PPR league.
So I want everybody to see something here. I want everyone to see that Alvin Kamara is at the top He is right here. Look at him. He's right there at the top. The #1 scoring in PPR standard leagues, the top running back of the week. The top running back. Beating out Todd Gurley, beating out Carlos Hyde, Christian McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, all of those guys, all the big names that you would think of, Alvin Kamara topped them. Why? It is this group right here. The ability to catch the ball out of the backfield has added tremendous value to him, and having those 6 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown was the difference, and he has become a legitimate #1 fantasy option. And I want to go even further here. I'm going to go all the way down. There's his counterpart. There's Mark Ingram. See the difference here? The 16 carries for 77 yards, only 1 pass out of the backfield on 1 target.
Yeah, he's not utilized the same way in that offense. And it's a completely different part of that offense. And what we talked about was that New Orleans has completely shifted to now playing this game where the running back is way more valuable.
Yes.
And that has not been traditionally in the past. This has been throw, 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 and not ever had this running back who's really been utilized as much as he's being right now.
Yeah, and he's clearly the running back 1 there. He's clearly the guy that they're going with going forward. So if you're a Mark Ingram owner like myself, you're panicking a little bit about the usage of Mark Ingram because Alvin Kamara seems to be getting all the work.
All right, let's talk about our last performance of the week here, and that is another guy who kind of is a bit of a surprise, and that is because T.Y. Hilton has Jacoby Brissett throwing in the football. And T.Y. Hilton, this is a great performance. 5 receptions, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 34.5 points. My, oh my. Where you drafted him, if you get a performance like this, you're feeling really good about T.Y. Hilton.
2 things about this performance from T.Y. Hilton. To your credit page, this is because, and you just mentioned it, Jacoby Brissett's throwing the ball. And if he can catch this type of production with Jacoby Brissett throwing him the ball, you're going to play him against no matter who his quarterback is, no matter who they're playing, because you're going to believe that they're going to have success, right?
Exactly.
You thought without Andrew Luck it would be a bit of a problem, that they wouldn't be able to have that much success, that T.Y. Hilton would struggle. He's not having that problem right now. He is succeeding. The 2 touchdowns, 175 yards. Look, one of those touchdowns a little bit fluky, got a little lucky that Houston didn't touch him down. He got up and ran. But that's awareness. That's a good play by him. The key thing to me here is the 5 catches on 9 targets. Efficiency is the name of the game there. I look at some of the other wide receivers here, Doug Baldwin, Alshon Jeffrey, Marvin Jones Jr., double-digit targets, and they made good on those performances. T.Y. Hilton didn't have double-digit targets, only 9. He caught 5 of them, and he's the only wide receiver in PPR standard leagues that scored over 30 points this week.
Yeah.
That's a good performance, and it's efficient. That is what you like to see.
No, this is an absolutely phenomenal performance, and we know, obviously, Andrew Luck is not coming back this season.
So this is Jacoby Brissett's show.
But I want you to take a little credit. I'm going to allow Chris to take a little credit here.
Wow, this is true.
He called out.
I did call this week.
He called out for Jacoby Brissett this week. And let's take a little look-see at where
we can pull up Jacoby Brissett's numbers. They were not as good as I expected them to be. I expected him to have a little bit more success. But he ended up, I mean, look, he's ahead of Drew Brees, ahead of Alex Smith, ahead of Matt Ryan. I mean, ahead of Josh McCown, the 11th best quarterback. I mean, I want to count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He was the QB9 this week, a top 10 quarterback.
That is all you can ask
That's the performance you want on a weekly basis from Jacoby Brissett, and he delivered. He scored more points than Marcus Mariota, which was my big prediction of the week last week. I had to give Chris, I had to allow Chris to take a little credit here. So the few times I get things right, I have to take credit for
the few times that he has really good moments, we need to let Chris have some.
Yeah, you have to give me these
but
opportunities.
The way that we're going to end the show is we got to get into our trades. Trade Tuesday. Chris has been offered a lot of trades.
I've made 2 moves before the show today.
Can you pull them up? Can you pull them up, the moves, so people can look at
You're
them?
going to have to give me a second here.
That's all right.
Because I have to make sure I'm in the right leagues.
Okay, so what Chris did today, I want to give a little behind the scenes to the audience.
Okay, I'm going to need help though too. Okay. We can get the listeners help on this because if you look at my team name, it's Dude Where's Derek Carr.
Okay.
All right. Problem.
He traded
I don't have Derek Carr anymore, so I'm going to need a new team name here pretty soon after I just changed it this week. So here, you can take a look at my team. You can take a look at the situation that I'm in here. Got some players. This is a problem right here. Deshaun Watson on the IR.
But
Derek Carr's on his bye week.
This is a keepers league.
The keepers league. This is the keepers league.
You're keeping Deshaun Watson.
Well, I want to have the ability to decide to keep Deshaun Watson. I don't want to drop him because in this league somebody will pick him up and stash him away.
100%.
So we have Derek Carr on a bye week this week. And I don't want to drop Derek Carr. So I go over here. I go to the lovely add player section of the screen. And oh boy, look at some of these options. Oh, we can get Jay Cutler, we can get Case Keenum, we can get Andy Dalton, who threw 4 picks in a game. I don't know if you've known that. Blake Bortles, Jacoby Brissett. These are all the players that are available to me. So I thought I have to go out and talk to one of the teams that are bad.
Yes.
One of the teams that are out of it that are playing for next year. So I'll go over to the team. So I go over to the team and I make a trade offer for Cam Newton. And this is the trade offer that I put together.
No. No, people. This is not the trade offer that Chris put
No, hold
together.
on.
Let's get the real story
You helped me
here.
a little bit. I was going to add one extra player to that deal.
Okay, so here's the thing about Chris. Okay, he needed to learn what was going on here. So Chris, we're doing our podcast.
Yes.
And Chris says, Paige, I want to trade. I want to trade Derek Carr. I want to get Cam Newton because he wants to be able to keep Deshaun Watson. Needs somebody going forward.
Yes.
Blah blah blah. So I said, okay, Chris, why don't you offer Cam Newton or offer Derek Carr for Cam Newton straight up? No way he's going to go for that.
No, I've been in this league for 7 years.
No
they don't
way
make
he's
these
go
trades.
And I told Chris, Chris, and this is for the listeners, a little tip. You always offer the least amount of what you want to give, okay? You send a crappy trade first. So that way, the people in your league look at it and go, man, I don't want to do this deal. And occasionally, there is a schmo in your league who says yes right away. And Chris's friend is a schmo because he said yes to that trade. And Chris
within
was overjoyed.
60 seconds. Within 60 seconds of sending the text message.
And
Agreed.
he looks over at me and goes, oh my God. He said yes.
I was not expecting him to say yes.
It was
so
like
I have Cam Newton.
a woman's reaction when she gets proposed to. He was so excited.
I was overjoyed.
He was overjoyed that he had been, one, listened to me, and two, been able to get this trade. And Chris, how are you feeling now?
Well, I'm feeling great because I now have Cam Newton instead of Derek Carr, and now I have a top 10 quarterback going forward. But sidebar, I need a new team name.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Twitter.
So my team, Cam Newton, Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, Stephon Diggs.
So we need some plays off of the word Cam Newton.
We could do Cam. We have, we have.
Who else do you have on your team?
LeGarrette Blount and Josh Gordon. I'm sure there's some sort of pun to be made there. I'll just leave that.
I can think of about 17.
I'll leave that to Twitter for that.
Not PG.
Nelson Aguilar, Jordan Reed, Justin Tucker, Jason Witten, AJ Green, Josh Doxson.
Can we make a joke about AJ Green punching people in the face? Can we do something?
We could probably work on that. You want me to tell everyone my other trade?
Yeah, let's talk about the other trade.
I'll go to my other league here.
Okay.
This is a different league.
This is really, truly, the end of the show is really only about Chris.
Well, hold on. I made this trade on my own. You did not help with this one. How
did this one, tell everyone how this went, though. You made the trade, and what did you do? You came in this morning.
Well, I wanted to make sure I made a good decision.
Yeah, that's right.
I needed to get the confirmation, but I made the trade. I couldn't take it back now.
Okay, what's the trade here?
So I had Devonta Freeman.
Yes.
And he was not performing very well. I no longer have Devonta Freeman in this fantasy league. Hadn't scored a touchdown in his last 4 games. Banged up shoulder. Wasn't really enjoying it. I won my fantasy matchup despite Leonard Fournette not taking the team photo and not playing last week.
Yeah, weird.
So I decided to make a bit of a bold move. I took Devonta Freeman and I took Marquise Goodwin. I packaged them together. I said, we're going to send this out. In return, I have acquired Joe Mixon and Ted Ginn Jr. So now my team is Matt Stafford, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown, Sterling Shepard, Ted Ginn Jr. That's what I'm building on. I got Corey Davis to throw in there as well.
Yeah, I told you it's not a bad trade. I'm not overwhelmed by it.
No, it was just I tried to get myself to be a better team, and I made my team better.
I think you made a decent move here, Chris.
I thought I made my team better.
How are you feeling about your team right now?
I'm good. This team's 4-5. They're not doing that great. I think if the playoffs were to begin today, I would be out. So I kind of needed to make a move to kind of put myself in a position to make the playoffs, and I think that I did that.
Do you want to go to a question here?
Do you have a question?
I do have a question.
All right, so what is the question?
This is from Dave on Twitter.
I thought it would be from Joe Marino.
He wants to know, should I roll with T.Y. Hilton or Sterling Shepard in a non-PPR league? I think I know the answer to this question.
The answer is T.Y. Hilton. Did you not see what he did this past week?
I just wanted to make sure that you you were listening.
I would love to know who his other wide receivers are, because I think you can make the case to play Sterling Shepard.
Both of those guys can play.
Depending on your situation.
So here's the thing: I always get the one or the other, though. So that's what
if those are your options, then let's go with T.Y. Hilton.
What do you do?
Oh gosh.
This one comes from Robert on Twitter, and it's this GIF made me laugh really hard.
Do you want me to pull it up? Do I have that ability? Actually, I don't think you're plugged into the board.
No, I'm not plugged into the board, so you're just going to have to trust me.
Okay, maybe I don't.
Just dropped Deshaun Watson for Cutler. Okay, so this is the part where we all just kind of commiserate together, because if you had, like I did, you had Deshaun Watson, and I had Aaron Rodgers, and then I had nobody, because they're both hurt. Mm-hmm. And you have to pick up a guy like Jay Cutler. I'm with you, Rob. I had to pick up Jay Cutler, too. And let me tell you.
Wow, you're not happy about it.
It's not really that fun. It's not really that fun starting a guy like Jay Cutler.
Now, this is where we are. There it is. Hey, it's up there.
Oh, there it is. This is what I'm talking about.
Oh, boy. Sitting at his desk.
I don't know. The GIF's not playing, but...
Paige, your computer's not...
it's playing on my computer screen. It's just struggling.
No, you need to get a new computer. That's
no way.
Yeah,
I'm not getting a new computer. My computer's great. And
not great to have to pick up Jay Cutler. I'm not really liking this situation that you find yourself in. Next thing you're going to tell me you have to pick up Eddie Lacy.
Chris?
Yeah.
I say this with all certainty.
Okay.
There will never, ever be a time where I pick up Eddie.
We had Eddie Lacy on our team for a little while.
Yeah,
he's no longer there.
You did that without my permission.
He's no longer there, but
luckily, you know what happened afterwards. I asked for the password so that I could log in on the phone and make sure that Eddie Lacy was very, very far away from that starting lineup.
He is no longer on the team. This is accurate.
I was thinking about potentially messing with your lineups and your other teams.
Well, that's unfair.
Because
I was
very upset about Eddie Lacy.
I didn't, hey, you can't win them all. I tried. I tried to make Eddie Lacy a thing for our team. It didn't work out.
People want to know about the Cowboys, what we think about is going to happen about Ezekiel Elliott. I think I've gotten 20 tweets
I'll just
in the
leave.
last couple
I'll just
of days.
leave because I'm not going to try to guess.
Let's speculate because let's have a little fun here because this is how I want to end the show here with the Cowboys situation.
Prediction.
What happens with Zeke and then what happens to the Cowboys because they just had an impressive victory against the Kansas City Chiefs. What happens to all the offensive pieces around him because we've seen the reemergence of Des Bryant. We've seen what happens, Jason Witten and old reliable. You want to talk about old reliable, Jason Witten. But maybe his value goes up if Ezekiel Elliott's not in the game.
So my prediction is it tomorrow that the
Yes.
Okay, so tomorrow the suspension will go back into place. And then 2 days later, Ezekiel Elliott will find another appeal process and will appeal the ruling, and Ezekiel Elliott will play on Sunday. I mean, that's my prediction because that's what happens every week for this thing. In terms of the performances that everyone's going to have, I think Jason Witten is fine. Dak Prescott's fine. Running backs, I know everyone wants to talk about Alfred Morris or Darren McFadden. I like Rod Smith a ton. I think he's going to end up being the guy. I think he's the most talented of the group. So I'm actually preemptively picking him up today, a little bit ahead of Waiver Wire Wednesday on our podcast. I'm picking him up now just to have him after I had to move some things around because I had Leonard Fournette to pick up Chris Ivory in some leagues and move some pieces around. But now I'm going to double down and go with Rod Smith again because I think he's going to end up being the guy there by the season's end because, again, I stand by my statement. Ezekiel Elliott is serving the suspension at some point this season. I just don't know when.
So here's the issue. We don't know when it's going to happen, and I'm with you that he might end up having the appeal come through. He ends up getting another appeal. There's a bunch of different legal jargon that none of us have ever heard of before, that he has 17 different appeals. I do think he's going to serve it, and I think it starts this upcoming week. I think it actually starts, and I think what happens is Dak Prescott, as of right now, I'm looking at the list, is the number 4 overall quarterback. I don't see the continuation of Dak being in the top 5 overall scoring. I think he stays in your top 12 where you need him to be. But I do see a significant drop without Ezekiel Elliott because teams do not have to respect the run. And Dak's not going to be able to do the same things that he's been doing thus far if Ezekiel Elliott is not in the game.
No, and the thing that's going to help Dak the most is if they can get one of these guys, whether it's McFadden, Morris, or Smith, established early.
Yes.
Because they don't need an Ezekiel Elliott type run game. They just need some balance because that's going to open up all the opportunities for Dak. So again, Dak's a top 10 quarterback this year. You're not sitting him down, but you do worry about maybe it taking them a little while to get into a rhythm with Zeke out of the lineup. But that offensive line has just been so good.
Yes.
Anybody can run behind that line. They should be able to find success very quickly, and that should mean that Dak should very quickly become the quarterback that we expect him to be. There shouldn't be that much time where he struggles.
You would think so, but let's wait and see. I think this is the biggest mystery of the 2017 fantasy football season. There's been a lot of weird stuff that's happened. There's been a lot of injuries, but the Ezekiel Elliott story is a story that will not end. And so if you're starting him, you have him in your lineup right now.
Good luck figuring it out.
Good luck figuring out whether or not he's going to be in your lineup. I mean, at this point, we're 9 weeks in. We're approaching week 10, and I can't tell you if he's going to. I know he's going to serve the suspension. I just don't know when it's going to be.
That's the thing. I do not know when exactly Ezekiel Elliott's going to serve the suspension, but I will stand by my statement that I've made for weeks now that he is going to serve the suspension at some point this season, just because the NFL is going to get their way. And to be fair to them, all they're asking for is the ability to enforce the suspension that they put out there, right?
Yeah.
They're not asking for all this legal trouble. And I'm the last person to defend the NFL. They want to be able to enforce these suspensions. And for them, they don't want... Trust me, Ezekiel Elliott doesn't like going through this process of not knowing whether he's going to play every week. And the NFL certainly doesn't like it because it is a major distraction from the on-field product, which, to be honest, with everybody being bad and everybody not, playing well, it's made the NFL fun. The Vikings are competitive. The Vikings could potentially go deep in the postseason. The Saints, the Eagles are the surprise of the NFL. The Chiefs. I mean, there are some fun storylines to be talking about. Some players that are incredible. Deshaun Watson was an incredible story. Yet it's overshadowed by all this talk about Ezekiel Elliott. So I'm sure the NFL, in a year where they're coming off the ratings being down, they don't want this either.
No, and I think this is Ezekiel Elliott and his team of people around him telling him to do this. Dude, you're going to serve the suspension. Just serve it. Be done with it because Raj is going to get his way. He always does. Chris, any parting thoughts?
I had a very successful day in fantasy trades, so I'm happy.
You're welcome.
I'm going to just sit back here and just...
You're welcome. Yeah. As usual. Joe Marino.
Oh, yeah, Joe. Hey.
Love you, Joe.
Anytime you want to make another bet, buddy.
You're definitely going to be another victim if we decide to put another wager going on. But lastly, Burkowski.
Oh, you're doing it again?
Notice,
you can't call him out again.
Oh, I can. Burkowski, you're on notice, man. And I hope everyone gets to enjoy a video of him in Bears gear. But Chris, you can follow him at Chris R. Schubert. You can follow me at _sports page. And you can follow the show. Check that out.
Oh,
at
that's
The
good.
Keepers FF. And you can subscribe to our podcast.
Which we do 4 days of the week.
4 days of the week on iTunes. But for Chris Schubert, I'm Paige Demakos. Thanks for watching.